that fight propelled you into the Oscar De La Hoya fight. And
But you know how I got that fight.
well, I'm about to ask you right now because you no
You
longer
talk about business, you know business, right?
a little bit.
All right, go ahead and ask me.
So you no longer had Lou DiBella.
No.
Y'all had an issue. Don't want to get into that, but that he was no longer representing you. Are you
Lou
representing
DiBella
yourself?
was the mouthpiece
For the
between
tournament.
me. Lou DiBella was mouthpiece for the tournament because I wasn't gonna get nowhere with Don King, and Lou DiBella had the old HBO experience where he came from. Lou DiBella,
Do you give him credit for securing that for you?
I gave him $800,000. Lou DiBella got paid almost $1 million.
But do you give him credit though and say, man, you did that, I appreciate that.
For making the deal?
Making that deal.
Would he have done it if I wouldn't have gave him $800,000?
Probably not.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good comeback. So 3 years later, you and Oscar De La Hoya, this the cash cow in the game. Did you negotiate that head up?
But Oscar De La Hoya?
The fight, the negotiations for that fight, money.
Yeah, I paid 90% part of it. I have a mouthpiece, and then at the end of the day, I had to pull the trigger. Means that I got all the information I need to have. What is it? What are they paying me guaranteed? Second, what are they giving to me foreign sale rights? I want to dig into the foreign sale rights.
Sponsorship.
Sponsorships. Gate. Sponsorship.
Did you share in that, or did Oscar say, this your money, man? That's
No,
it?
I shared in that, but Top Rank did the fight. Top Rank did the fight. I got a pay-per-view, right? I didn't share the gate. All that stuff comes in the promotion. But far as the pay-per-view numbers, I shared pretty decent money from that. Not millions, right? But I got some decent money from that because that was what I needed to get after it hit certain amount of number in the pay-per-view.
Got you.
The guarantee was nice.
Career
I got
high.
$10 million.
Yeah, I know. I did my right. I didn't want to say the number, but you said it.
Right.
That's career high though, right?
Correct.
At that time.
Correct.
So to me, I think I was at that fight. And the Mandalay MGM.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I remember a reporter, and it definitely might be out there if you get one of the press conferences and look it up because nothing go away. They, whatever, especially nowadays. I remember a reporter saying, "Hey Bernard, Oscar's getting $30 million to fight you. You got all the belts. You're fighting for the vacant WBO belt, which no champion ever had the 4-belt era." See, with Dre, I got to remind him.
4-belt era.
I started the 4-belt era. If you look at the boxing right now, because this podcast is going to educate a lot of people, then I want you to do your research. See, they're going to bury it, and don't want you to know what I've done. There's some still haters, some dead and some not. I became the first of the 4-belt era. The undisputed, I already accomplished that with Tito, correct?
3-belt era.
The 4-belt era was because Oscar wanted to be the first to become 10 weight division champion in boxing, means win 10 world championship in the division. That's why he wanted to fight me, Oscar, for the vacant WBO belt. That was the only belt that I didn't have. So that's when I became the 4-belt era beginner. And now the 4-belt era was everybody had the WBA, WBC, and IBF. The WBO was like, okay, the 4th belt, but not the strongest out of the 3, as far as popularity was, correct? So I became the first in the 4-belt era. Then I wanted to make sure that history will reflect that, and it does. Speaking of that, before I lose my thought, I lost a good friend like we all did in boxing. And we shared history together, and we talked about it briefly. You follow me on my Instagram, and you see me and Big George with our watches from the WBC like this recently. Why do me and George have a friendship and had a friendship like most people, especially now, are going to say they had? But I got receipts too. And we all got stories in the boxing world, majority of us, whether it's from the convention here, there, or speaker tone, whatever. The one thing, Dre, about George, we both have history in common. If you look up the oldest world champion that won a world champion, you see George, who was first, and then Bernard Hopkins, correct? Now the baton, tell you how things work. 360, I didn't plan this coming out of Greater Ford. I strive for it, but I didn't plan it to go the way it did. Y'all all can leave this room right now and be like, man, this guy crazy. But I had a vision of doing things that I know could be done once I realize it in my vision. Now that George, who was the first world champion, the oldest, beat Michael Moore. When Jim Lampley and I talked years ago, and I want you to ask him this, Dre, because I just talked to him 2 days ago and congratulate him on his commentating returning in New York City. Ryan Garcia fight. I said, when I beat Trinidad, can you just say it happened? I want to hear that historic 3 words. It happened. It happened. It happened. That's when George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore after coming back after years of retirement, and no one gave him a chance. And he hit him with a 1-2 and knocked Michael Moore out and became the oldest world champion in boxing. And that record he held until I became the oldest champion in boxing. Yes, he's the oldest in the heavyweight division, and I'm the oldest in my division. But if you say boxing, I got the baton right now until someone else get it, correct? Mm-hmm. So the baton has been passed of age of excellence to me. That's what history does for history makers. And that's why I'm glad I secured that then, didn't know that I'd be talking about this in this way now. I just wanted to throw that in here. Big George.
Man, there's a lot we could say about him. Back to this Oscar fight, you stop Oscar with a sneaky left hook to the body in the 9th round. What do you have to say to people that say, I was fixed. He wasn't hurt. That wasn't a strong shot. What do you have to say to people that say that?
What would I say to people that say that wasn't a strong enough shot for Oscar not to get up? I would say, have you ever been hit in the liver?
Probably not.
Have you ever been hit in the liver?
Mm-hmm.
When I say that to people, guess what? They look at me and I say, don't say nothing because your look said it already.
Right.
Until you get hit in the liver, you will understand that the liver is not supposed to be hit on. I heard the gasp, and I knew he wasn't getting up. The timing of it was more than a punch. As an athlete, you and I know, and anyone else out there will understand, even if you're not an athlete, if you get the wind knocked out of you.
It's a problem. I'd rather get hit in the face.
You could shake a head shot.
Yeah, I'd rather get hit in the face.
You could shake a buzz shot.
Yeah.
But how do you shake a liver shot? How do you stop air being forced out of you by an accurate punch that's timed with the punch you threw, but missed, and you out there? I don't want to get hit with no shot like that, and I have got hit like that.
Yeah.
And let me tell you who hit me with that shot that took me off my game, and I mentioned this at many interviews. You know who I'm talking about, RJ.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that first fight, and Roy hit me with that left hook to the body, and he jumped from across the ring. You know, he had that leaping, and the reaction of anyone to get hit with a punch by him leaping, doing something very unorthodox that we are told not to do. Dre, I held that right hand
The rest of the night.
and didn't let it go, and that was part of this taking me away from my game. But yeah, that was a timeless, but a shot that was so accurate, and one of the, I would say, one of the effective shots that fighters today should understand, kill the body, the head will fall.
Jermaine Taylor. My thinking back then, seeing a young dude from Little Rock, Arkansas, he's strong, wild. A lot of times, those are the hardest guys to fight. He ain't really got a style, but he strong as an ox and he can
Country,
punch.
strong.
Got that right hand.
Correct.
He ain't got nothing else, but he's not
And it's
traditional.
coming like this.
Yes, he's not traditional. I didn't necessarily like that matchup for you. Was that something you felt pressured to do? Because it's like, okay, this the young HBO guy. How did that fight come about? And talking about the first two fights, I know you thought you won. You thought you won both of them.
The first one, of course.
You give him the second one?
Yes. I could have did more in the second one, but the first one, I believe I won.
Why did you fight him?
Because Dare to be great is to be great. And I wanted to show the world that this era that I live in, we fight all the upcoming, all the current, and any threat that seems to be one, come on with it. And these are the things you do, I feel, that you have to do to get the respect now and later. We don't see that today. And Dre, that's why. Was this fight dangerous? Correct. Was Trinidad fight even dangerous? Correct. But in doing these things that is unusual in this generation will make me who I am and my legacy with respect and dignity. You can't put a price on that. And that's what I want to be remembered by. Not by things that can be replaced. I won't be replaced. Records get broken, but what I've done and who I am will end with me in my time of
The legacy remains.
legacy.
Yeah, legacy
Correct.
remains.